two announcements made this morning. We'd like to make our thoughts clear on the matters, and I suppose to a degree have a bit of a vent. Some things do need to be vented. Others, well, they'll be a bit more obvious as we go. First of all, beginning with club statements regarding our senior women's team. South Norton FC can advise its members and supporters that Sam Young has, by mutual agreement, stood down from the coaching duties for the senior women's team. Sam has seen the senior squad through a very challenging time during the pandemic, and we thank him for his service and wish him the best of luck for the future. Under 19s coach George Giardidis will take on the responsibility for the senior team for the Nike FC Cup fixture against Heidelberg United FC. George will serve as interim coach until the end of the 2022 season. Now, of course, I think no one can deny that this has been certainly long overdue, but we also don't believe that this is predominantly the fault of our now former gaffer, Sam. So, first of all, let's just look at the major positive points of his present, or most recent tenure now at South. It has been last season where we should have won the league, but we didn't because of lockdown interruptions. But we also had a fantastic season, a great squad, and yeah, we should have won the league. Of course, life happens, and in the end, all's marked null and void. But we also made it all the way to a final in the Nike Cup, which, because of delays, we also lost a number of our senior talents come the final, thanks to the emotions of the A-League season. So to get us to a final through a COVID-interrupted year, that's not a bad job. To guide us all the way to a semi the next season isn't a bad job either. I think Sam should certainly keep that fact in his heart very strongly. Because no matter what way you look at it, no matter how you slice things, reaching back-to-back semis in the Cup is a tremendous effort. An effort we thank him for. But on the more negative side of things, there's of course the various issues that have plagued us this season, and we'll get to the table in a moment. But I think let's start from the beginning, and that would be squad retention. As mentioned earlier in the year, we had just shy of half, thanks to Addy split 11. So we just had shy of half, starting 11, retained from 2021. That's not great. Now we can understand that yes, our players were older and they were happy to leave, changing life circumstances and so on. We get that, we understand. And we support them. Because our players are people. And like with all people, life's complicated and shit happens. That doesn't mean you stop supporting people that play a part in your community. On the same hand, that doesn't also wipe away the fact that we lost a lot of our squad over a summer window. We know the players still playing football, just not with us. So you can't help but wonder, alright, what went wrong there? What happened? Why were we left to rebuild a squad, effectively rebuild a core, because those players that stayed on, that were retained, they certainly weren't close to a cohesive core together, that being the sense of a formation. Sure, we could have built a futsal team around them, and they would have been a fantastic futsal team. But for full senior 11-a-side football, it just wasn't going to cut the mustard as a core by itself. And that is by no means a criticism towards those players, collectively or individually. It's merely pointing to the fact that a core of a squad is more than just a handful of people. Indeed, it's not just the 11 players on the field. It's the bench, it's the broader squad, it's those who support those players. And in addition to players leaving, we've seen staff members leave the club, both in terms of those supporting, both coaching staff, but we've seen on a board level, and while everyone has their own reasons, everyone has their own stories to why they've gone to different pastures, you can't help but see that there is a major problem. That if you're going to find a season with only about a third of the people you had last year, you can't expect there to be instant success. You can't expect things to work things out on their own. And you can't help but just feel, alright, if that's what they were given at the start of the year, this is the position we're in now, what could have you done better? And it certainly seems to all come back down to, alright, what has the board done to support our staff, support those who remained, and try and make the best out of this season? Something we've been nowhere near achieving. And that is not a criticism of those who have come in. Indeed, all the girls who have come in to our club, yes, they might take a little while to adjust, as would anyone, as would any fact in life. When you start a new job, there's always a couple of weeks where you're adjusting, learn the ropes, because even if you're in the same industry, every business is run just a little bit different. And so you need a little bit of time to be able to learn and understand those various niche differences that make one business different from another. And for the most part, I think we've been quite successful in that. Yes, we've lost a shitload of games. Can't deny that, because there is an overreaching factor. We haven't performed well enough. That doesn't mean there's been absence of effort. And all year, we've seen just how much this team has worked their arse off to try and make the best out of the year that was going to be shit. And you know what? It doesn't matter where we end up in this year. All that matters is we get through this year and we stick by each other and acknowledge all the hard work that has been put in to try and make the best of a terrible situation as far as the club should be concerned. And while there were certainly issues and just question marks about that have not been answered, big one being, how come we've recruited so much from a single talent agency? No matter which way you slice things, it just looks dodgy. And while the players who have come in, and this is by no means criticism towards them, nor their shared association, you can't build an entire team from a single source. Let's face it, if this was in any other industry, you would pretty much be calling it nepotism. But beyond all that, you can't go past the fact that whatever we've been left to build things with, we've been left on our own. And there's been no apparent significant support from the board. Something that if your team, your club, is having to go through a rebuild, you as the board need to step up that extra step further and make those extra efforts to make sure that the rebuild goes through as smoothly as possible. You don't leave an entire squad on their arse, because that's what it's felt like this year. That our girls, 1/3 of the senior department of South Melbourne FC has been left on their arse high and dry. Well, no matter what can come in the future, and indeed, we certainly wish all the best towards our interim gaffer in George, and we hope that the remainder of the season is as successful as possible. We'd also like to thank him for all he's done in bringing our under-19s into such a competitive position this year, because they've had a fantastic season. They have been playing brilliant football. And they're not going to miss out the next third of their season because their manager, their gaffer, has now got split duties, depending on how they're going to deal with things. And it's just... we could have done so much more this year. But no. And this hasn't been a rebuild. We put a sticky plaster on things and hoped it'd all work things out. And of course, as a consequence of this, there's been clear and apparent health issues that have risen within our squad. Something that isn't a cohesive binding factor to building a successful football team. And you can see it week in, week out, that mental health issues are plaguing our senior squad. And you don't want to see that. You don't want to have an entire group, no matter who they are, where they are in life, If you're part of something greater than the sum of your parts, as any community is, you support one another, especially when your community members, your family is struggling. And our senior women's team is clearly having their own struggles that have been made to be their own and not supported by others. And already this has led to the departure of one of our senior squad players in the long-serving and beloved cat Goff. And so, as she has announced this morning, alongside our senior coaching change, at the end of last year, I was ready to take a break. It had been a difficult 2 seasons for everyone, and I'd been juggling too many things at once. But when pre-season began, and I met this group, I wanted to play with them so badly. They are such a lovely group of them, phenomenal footballers. I am so excited to cheer on all of them in their bright futures. I'm so proud of their resilience and perseverance this season. And unfortunately tonight will be the last time I line up beside them for now. Mental and physical health should always come first. And while I'm still going to be the big fan, the honorary team mum, I'm taking a break from playing NPLW. I won't last too long without footy, so I might be back soon in another league. I need to make my health and career the priority. I decided to take football more seriously. South Melbourne was my first team. Coaches knew how terrible I was, but saw how I wanted to learn and how fast I was, and they gave me a chance. Many great teams, coaches and experience later, I wrap up my journey at South Melbourne. I am so blessed to have had people who believed in me, and to the place who accepted me and made me better because your inclusivity made a huge difference in my life. I'm amazed and super proud to say I, technically, was a professional football player, and now I'm having just love the game as a hobby again. So what can we say that hasn't already been said about someone like Kat, who has been a tremendous and eternally positive influence at South? The thing is, don't know we can. Because with all the words in the world, you cannot describe, you cannot actually measure just how much of a joy it is to have had someone like Kat in our ranks among our community. Because Kat, we hope you're listening to this, because you are just a tremendous person, and it is a real pleasure to have had you around for as long as we've had. And we thank you for everything you've done for us, not just from a footballing perspective. And that alone has been magnificent. But most importantly, from a community perspective, because you've done so much for those around you. I don't think, collectively even, we could ever come together to write the words that truly reflect how much you've loved and appreciated your efforts in making South Melbourne just a place to be. And so we certainly hope that we can let's keep up our end of things tonight and give yourself, as well as the rest of the team, all the support that you deserve tonight in our Nike Cup fixture. And yes, it is going to be difficult That can't deny. It's going to be difficult, but in every effort we've put forward this season, we should at least believe our efforts have been worthwhile. And we can at least make out from our end our efforts worthwhile in supporting the club and supporting our community team. Well, and that is the bare minimum that you all deserve. Most importantly, we do hope that this is not goodbye and that we do see you around in the future, be it within the NPL, perhaps the BPL, even in the state leagues. Just know that you have found your health, found your well-being once again, and that you can learn to love football without having to sacrifice your health and well-being. So, everything you've done for us, Kat, thank you. We can never thank you enough. But thank you. And with that note, we'd like to bring things back to something that I mentioned earlier, that being the clear mental health issues that are affecting our squad. And while it's perhaps a bit too late in one regard, it's certainly not too late for our entire squad. And the club should be making the resources available just to make sure that our senior squad is able to deal with any mental health issues that they might be going through. Because it's clear that there is issues going around. We can see it, we can feel it. So we just, as a club, we need to make those resources available. Because, let's face it, we can't afford to lose anyone else due to something that should be a blatantly obvious fix. Something that we could have acted upon, but didn't. Because things have been really feckless from above. And if you want to have a successful senior women's team, or indeed, if you want to have a future for this club within our women's department, then you've got to show the support. You've got to have those resources available. Because just because the lads might be having a fantastic year, that doesn't automatically mean that everything else is all particularly boo elsewhere. South is more than just the lads. It's more than just the players who go out. It's the staff around them. It's the community. It's the media team. It's the fans. It's the women. It's the power chair department. There's so much to this club. And every part of it deserves to have the bare minimum focus. And not every sector of our club, of our community club, has been given that focus, has been given those resources. And we've paid the price. And so, not to stretch this out much longer, because it's already gone on far longer than it should have. Given that's become some loose venting podcast. And that is, of course, what's our future? let's face it, the LAS, in from the start, it was never some grand community project. Originally, it was just two lads who loved the club, who enjoyed seeing and supporting our women's team because they are a fantastic part of our community. And they've always made us feel welcome, and we've always enjoyed supporting them and seeing their adventures throughout each season we've been about. Since we've came together, it's dropped down to just me, myself and I. There's no plural in the LAS anymore. We're not the ladies active supporters. We just support her. And even then, in my own efforts, the active side, it's just, well, it's been certainly far more absent than it should be. I mean, yes, when you rely on just a few people, things happen. And numbers are certainly a strength in football, especially in young charities. But if things are going to carry on like this, what is there to support? And while certainly my own presence at the club certainly won't be going away easily. Now, win, lose, draw, whatever, season cancel, I'll still be there. I will still be there to support the club I love. To see our teams in their brightest and their darkest. But that doesn't mean Glastonbury will still be there. And we've tried. But in this year, if things can't improve in terms of sport for our senior women, then just being left high and dry, well, we know we'll just face realities. And just go back to being individual. Because there is no collective. And so on that note, when it comes to the rest of the season, we'll be behind you. When it comes next year, the last might not still be there. Those who believe, those who support you no matter what, we will be there. It might not be the last. It might just be fans, friends and family. Regardless of what happens tonight, we do hope that we can get a crowd, that more of our supporters actually do make an effort for a change. Because we need every voice they can get